Hello, everyone. Ray Reyes here in December, and I just want to take a few minutes to chat with you today. I'd like to start off by wishing everyone a happy holidays. This is a special time of year to spend time with friends and family, and I truly hope that each of you gets a chance to do that. I know that there's work and there's other things going on, but it's always important to take some time and spend it with those that you love. So please do so. And as you're doing that, remember those service members out there that don't have an opportunity to do that right now because they're out serving, they're outside of the United States protecting our freedom. And so I ask that as you are spending time with friends and family, that you take a few minutes to remember them and to pray for them. They will not have as joyful a time as we will. And so please do so. And remember, and I mentioned this before, and it's so true. Freedom is not free, folks. There is a cost for our freedom. And recently we had three sailors that paid the ultimate price to protect our freedom. And so please, again, keep them in your prayers as you go along the holidays here. I did want to turn over now and talk a little bit about what we've been doing here at MI Real Estate. And so I want to kind of kick it off with a property that we acquired here in the summer and just talk to you about some of the things that we've been doing there. So here is our Tampa acquisition that we had in July. This is a 59 unit property that it was a C property that is a value add project, which means we take an older properties. In this case, it's a C, which means it's a 60s, 70s build, and we renovate it, both the interior and the exterior, which in turn drives up the income from efficiencies related to not having to repair things as much, efficiencies related to better management, which is another thing we bring to the table in these type of projects, and also the rental income increase, which you'll get because you've made an older property look much nicer, and your tenant base will improve along with it. And what you'll see here is some of the work that we've done to the interior. This is a before picture of one of the units, and what we do is we wait until the tenants depart, and then we go ahead and fix these units. We basically turn them, completely refresh the units, adding nicer counters, resurfacing all of the cabinets, putting new handles on them to make it look newer, new appliances, remove some carpet and maybe some linoleum, go ahead and put some wood and laminate, new carpets in the bedrooms, and just refreshing the entire property, which then again allows you to command a higher rent for that. And obviously, the better you do, you do have a kind of a ceiling that you have to go to, because obviously the area where you're at, people are gonna, you have to make sure that they're willing to pay for those higher rents for these properties. And so in this case, yeah, we factored the location in. It's an area that is improving, so this was a perfect place to do this kind of renovation and to basically to make a C property into a C plus property. Here's some of the stuff that we did to the exterior. We basically replaced all of the roofs, had to tear them down to the studs, clean them out, put everything new. Again, what this does is, yes, there's a cost up front, and we factor that cost in, but you now have a more attractive property, one that probably won't have as many repair calls because the roof's not leaking, it's a brand new roof, and it just drives up the value of that property by virtue of being able to command those higher rents and reduce the expenses. And the last thing I'd like to do is talk a little bit about the article that I have in the newsletter. It's been recently published. And why it's important is a lot of people go into investments, especially if you haven't invested before, thinking that it's going to be passive, and you have to know what you're getting into, and especially in a single family investing arena, because one of the key things that an asset manager does for you is they play kind of that liaison role between the property manager and you as the owner. If you don't have that person, and as a single family owner, you probably won't, because there's obviously, it would drive the cost too high to sort of have someone do this for you. Um, that means that you're the asset manager, and so if you're a busy professional, you have to take that into account. There's nothing wrong with that if that's something you want to do and you have the time and you want to embrace it, but no going in with your eyes wide open, that you're going to be spending more time than you probably thought dealing with your investment. My argument towards multifamily is because in the multifamily space you can have an asset manager, and it is factored into the cost. The syndicator, and one of the key ways where how we acquire properties is through syndications. That syndicator team is also your asset manager, and they do a lot of things for you. One of those is being that liaison between you and the property manager. But they do a lot more. Obviously, they actually are involved in the acquisition, and they look for ways to make you income. And sometimes as a property manager, certainly for me, it never felt like, it didn't always feel, I shouldn't say never, but it didn't always feel like the property manager cared how well or how bad my investment, my single family investing was doing. An asset manager's job is to maximize that property's net operating income, so that you can improve the NOI, or the NOI and the return on investment of those investors, and they depend on that. That's one of the key things why you would hire an asset manager. So doing that for you is essential for their livelihood as well, because if they're not doing too well and making those recommendations and managing that property manager and really taking hold of that asset and giving you the returns that you projected and they projected, frankly, then they're not going to be in business very long. And so that's why that asset manager is key. Um, and the other piece, obviously, is if you have an asset manager, then you are a more passive investor. If that's all you're doing is you're providing your funds to a syndicator, because they're not calling you about any issues with the properties, with those properties. Whereas if you have a property manager and you don't have anybody else, you will become involved in all sorts of maintenance issues and tenant issues that are going to take up some of your valuable time. So folks, that's it for this iteration. I hope you got something out of this video. You've got my information on the screen here and in several other locations. Please provide some feedback if you can to this video and my content. I'm looking for ways to make things better for you. And so feel free. Again, I encourage you to contact me. And last but not least, again, happy holidays to you and yours. Bye-bye now.